Greetings aspirants, welcome to the Daily Current Affairs by CivicCentre IAS, where we try to discuss important and relevant articles from the Hindu, Indian Express and the PIB in UPSC CSE Prelims perspective. So, these are the list of articles we are going to discuss today. Coming to the first article, a committee headed by Union Home Minister Amit Shah has approved 1,554.99 crore of additional central assistance under the National Disaster Response Fund to 5 states affected by floods, flash floods, landslides and cyclonic storms during 2024. So, now in this context, let's discuss about the National Disaster Response Fund and its purpose, utilization, funding and management. The National Disaster Response Fund is an essential financial mechanism that provides immediate assistance during severe natural calamities. To begin with, it was established under the Disaster Management Act 2005 and operates under the Ministry of Home Affairs, ensuring a structured and centralized approach to a disaster relief. When it comes to its purpose, the National Disaster Response Fund is specifically meant for immediate relief and assistance in times of severe natural disasters. In other words, it is extensively utilized for rescue, relief and rehabilitation operations, helping affected communities to recover quickly. As for its funding, the National Disaster Response Fund is primarily financed by the Government of India through the National Calamity Contingency Duty on selected goods. Furthermore, allocations are made based on the recommendations by the Finance Commission, ensuring a transparent and need-based distribution of the funds. In terms of management, the National Executive Committee, which is headed by Union Home Secretary, oversees the National Disaster Response Fund. Moreover, funds are released to state governments based on assessment of disaster severity, ensuring that financial aid is directed where it is most urgently needed. With regard to eligibility, assistance under the NDRF is provided only for notified natural calamities such as earthquakes, floods, cyclones, droughts and landslides. However, it is important to note that it does not cover man-made disasters, making it distinct from other relief mechanisms. On the other hand, the NDRF and SDRF, which is State Disaster Response Fund, serve different purposes despite both being disaster response funds. First and foremost, the National Disaster Response Fund is meant for severe calamities that require national level support, whereas the State Disaster Response Fund is designed for disasters managed at the state level. In addition, the NDRF is fully funded by the central government, while the SDRF follows a shared funding model, which contributions in a 75:25 ratio between the center and state. Notably, for northeastern and Himalayan states, the ratio is 90:10%, ensuring higher financial assistance for these vulnerable regions. Considering its significance, the NDRF plays a vital role in disaster response by ensuring swift financial aid during major disasters and reducing the financial burden on states during severe calamities, enhancing disaster preparedness and resilience, which strengthens India's overall disaster response framework. So in conclusion, the NDRF is a crucial component of India's disaster management system. By ensuring timely financial assistance, it helps affected regions recover more effectively, thereby safeguarding lives and infrastructure in the wake of devastating calamities. Now moving on to the next article, a groundbreaking study has revealed that the Iron Age may have begun in present-day Tamil Nadu as early as 3345 BCE, challenging previous historical assumptions by pushing back the timeline of iron usage in the region by over a millennium. So, now in this context, we will discuss about Iron Age in India, timeline, regions and archaeological cultures and sites. So, the Iron Age in India marks a significant phase in ancient history, characterized by advancements in metallurgy, cultural developments, and evolving social structures. To begin with, the Iron Age in India is generally dated between 1500 BCE and 600 BCE. Regionally, this period witnessed distinct cultural practices across different parts of the subcontinent. In North India, the painted grey-ware culture flourished, which was closely associated with the Indo-Aryans. Meanwhile, in Central and South India, the megalithic culture emerged, largely linked with the Dravidian-speaking people. At the same time, in Eastern India, there was an overlap between Chalcolithic and Iron Age cultures, particularly in Odisha and West Bengal. When considering archaeological evidence, several important culture and sites define the Iron Age period. The painted grey-ware culture was prevalent in northern India. Notably, key sites include Hastinapur, Ahichatra, Atranjikera and Mathura. Moreover, this culture is often associated with the Mahabharata period and early Vedic civilization. On the other hand, the megalithic culture, which was spread across the Deccan Plateau and South India, which includes Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Andhra Pradesh, was characterized by burial practices that involved large stone structures known as megaliths. Additionally, the end of the Iron Age, the northern black polished ware culture emerged, reflecting urbanization and growing trade networks. For instance, key sites of this culture include Hastinapur, Kausambi, and Patna. From the technological perspective, iron metallurgy saw significant advancements in iron smelting, developed as advanced craft. For example, the earliest evidence of iron smelting was being found at Atranji Kera, Uttar Pradesh, and Rajgat in Varanasi. Furthermore, the discovery of furnace and slag suggests that sophisticated iron extraction techniques were in use. As for iron tools, different types were produced serving a range of purposes. Agriculture implements such as plowshares, sickles, and hoes contributed to increased agriculture productivity. Weapons and warfare saw advancements with iron arrowheads, swords, and spearheads, indicating organized military practices. Domestic tools, including knives, axes, and chisels, highlight a well-developed domestic and economic life. Culturally and religiously, the Iron Age had profound influences. Vedic literature of this period makes references to iron, describing it as Shama Ayas. In addition, texts mention the use of iron for both weapons and agricultural tools, reinforcing its importance in daily life. Megalithic burials provide insights into ancestor worship and ritualistic practices. In many cases, grave goods, including iron tools and pottery and ornaments, have been discovered, reflecting religious beliefs and funerary traditions. In the conclusion, the Iron Age in India was a transformative period that shaped technological advancements, cultural evolution, and socio-economic structures with the rise of iron metallurgy, agriculture expansion, and urbanization. This era laid the groundwork for subsequent historical developments in India. Now, coming to the next article, the Supreme Court initiated sumoto proceedings on an order passed by the Lokpal, holding that it can examine corruption complaints against High Court judges. So, now in this context, we will be discussing about Supreme Court sumoto cognizance power and its constitutional basis, purpose and significance, scope and areas of use. So, now let's move into the topic. The sumoto cognizance power of the Supreme Court of India plays a crucial role in ensuring justice and safeguarding public interest. To begin with, the term sumoto is a Latin phrase meaning on its own motion. In essence, it refers to the power of the Supreme Court to take up cases on its own, even without any petition or formal request. From a constitutional perspective, this power is derived from Article 32 and Article 142 of the Indian Constitution. Article 32 grants the Supreme Court the authority to enforce fundamental rights, ensuring that citizens' constitutional rights are protected. Meanwhile, the Article 142 empowers the court to pass any order necessary for doing complete justice, enabling it to take proactive measures when required. The primary purpose of the sumoto cognizance is to ensure judicial activism. By doing so, it helps protect public interest, human rights, and fundamental rights. Moreover, this power is particularly useful for addressing urgent issues when there is no formal complaint or petition. In other words, it allows the court to act swiftly in matters of public concern. And looking at its scope and areas of use, the scope of sumoto cognizance is broad, covering several crucial areas like protection of fundamental rights. The Supreme Court uses this power to address violations of basic human rights or breaches of fundamental rights. And then public interest. It is also employed to resolve issues affecting a large section of society, ensuring that justice is served even without a formal appeal. And then environmental protection. In many cases, the court takes sumoto action to control pollution, conserve forests, and prevent environmental degradation. And then social justice. This power is used to address issues related to marginalized communities, including bonded labor and custodial violence, ensuring social equity. And then the contempt of court. Additionally, the Supreme Court utilizes this power to uphold the dignity of the judiciary, maintaining respect for the rule of law. And then looking some landmark cases. Over the years, several landmark cases have been demonstrated the effective use of sumoto cognizance. Firstly, Arnish Kumar vs. State of Bihar in 2014. The Supreme Court issued guidelines for arrest and detention, emphasizing personal liberty. And then second case is Sumoto Writ Petition Criminal number 1 of 2020, During the COVID-19 pandemic, the court directed measures for decognition of prisons, ensuring the safety of prisoners. And thirdly, MC Mehta versus Union of India, a historic case related to environmental protection and pollution control, highlighting the court's proactive role in safeguarding the environment. And lastly, Sumoto Cognizance of Child Trafficking 2021. In this case, the court invented to protect child rights, showing its commitment to social justice. So, in conclusion, the Supreme Court Sumoto Cognizance power is a vital tool for judicial activism and social justice. By taking proactive steps, it protects fundamental rights, ensures public interests, and upholds the dignity of judiciary, and ultimately this power enhances the role of the judiciary in maintaining constitutional values and safeguarding democratic principles. Now coming to the next article. In this article, we are going to discuss about the Alzheimer's disease and its causes, risk factors, along with its symptoms and stages, and diagnosis and detection. So now let's move into the topic. Alzheimer's disease is a neurodegenerative disorder that causes progressive memory loss, cognitive decline, and behavioral changes. In fact, it is the most common cause of dementia, significantly affect thinking, memory, and behavior. Now looking at the causes and risk factors, the exact cause of Alzheimer's disease remains unknown. However, it is linked to several risk factors including age. To begin with, the risk of developing Alzheimer's increases with age, particularly after 65 years. And then comes the genetics. Additionally, a family history of Alzheimer's and a specific genes such as the APOE4 allele, which is a genomic allele, increases the likelihood of developing the disease. And then comes the lifestyle and environmental factors. Moreover, factors like cardiovascular diseases, obesity, smoking, and lack of exercise have been associated with a higher risk. And in also the context of the brain changes. On a biological level, the disease is linked to the abnormal buildup of beta amyloid plaques and tau tangles in the brain, disrupting the neural communications. Now, let's look at its symptoms and stages. Alzheimer's disease progress in stages, each characterized by distinct symptoms. Coming to the early stage, the mild memory loss, particularly related to recent events, and difficulty in planning, organizing, and problem solving affecting day-to-day activities. And then the middle stage, confusing and disorientation become more noticeable. Changes in sleep patterns, behavior, and personality are also observed. In addition, individuals may experience difficulty recognizing familiar people, impacting social interactions. And the last stage, which includes the severe memory loss leading to an inability to communicate effectively. Loss of bodily function resulting in complete dependency on caregivers for daily activities. So now also let's know about the diagnosis and detection of the disease. Diagnosing Alzheimer's disease is challenging as there is no single definitive test. Instead, it involves a comprehensive approach, including cognitive and memory tests to assess mental functioning and memory recall. And brain imaging techniques like MRI and CT scan are used to rule out other potential causes of cognitive decline. And biomarkers, particularly blood tests for detecting beta amyloid and tau proteins, provided valuable insights. Neuropsychological assessments evaluate memory, reasoning, and cognitive abilities in a detailed manner. So, now let's know about the treatment and management of the disease. Currently, there is no cure for Alzheimer's disease, but symptoms can be managed through a combination of medications, supportive care, and lifestyle modifications. Now, looking at the medications, cholinesterase inhibitors improve neurotransmission, enhancing memory and cognition. And memantine regulates glutamate levels, which aids memory and learning. And supportive care includes the cognitive behavioral therapy, counseling, and support groups help patients and caregivers manage emotional challenges. And there are also some lifestyle modifications which include regular exercise, a balanced diet, and a mental stimulation are recommended to slow disease progression and improve quality of life. While there is no proven preventions for Alzheimer's, certain strategies can reduce risk, like health lifestyle choices. Regular physical exercise, a healthy diet, and a mental engagement are linked to lower Alzheimer's risk. Additionally, maintaining cardiovascular health by controlling blood pressure, diabetes, and cholesterol is also crucial. And the current research targets by beta amyloid and tau proteins, aiming to understand and interrupt the disease progression, and immunotherapy and gene editing are being explored for potential treatments. Furthermore, ongoing clinical trials are testing vaccines and drugs to slow cognitive decline. In conclusion, the Alzheimer's disease remains a significant health challenge worldwide, affecting millions of people. Through continuous research and awareness, the hope is to find effective treatments and possibly a cure, ultimately enhancing the quality of life for those affected. Now moving on to the next article, the much anticipated hearing in the Supreme Court of Petitions challenging a law that gives the government a dominant role in the appointments of the Chief Election Commissioner and Election Commissioners did not materialize on Wednesday. So now in this context, let's know about the Chief Election Commissioner, the Election Commission of India, and also the composition of ECI and appointment of election commissioners. So now let's go into the topic. The Chief Election Commissioner is the head of Election Commission of India, which is an autonomous constitutional authority responsible for conducting free and fair elections in the country. In essence, the Chief Election Commissioner plays a vital role in ensuring the integrity of the electoral process. So, now looking at the Election Commission of India, to begin with, the Election Commission of India is a permanent constitutional body that was established on 25th January 1950. According to Article 324 of the Indian Constitution, the ECI has the authority over the conduct of elections in India. This includes election to the Parliament, state legislatures, and the offices of President and Vice President. Now, looking at the composition of ECI, initially the Election Commission of India comprised the only Chief Election Commissioner. However, its structure evolved over time. Currently, the ECI consists of Chief Election Commissioner who heads the commission and oversees its operation, and 2 election commissioners who assist the Chief Election Commissioner in managing and conducting elections. And the appointment process of election commissioners, including the Chief Election Commissioner, is governed by Article 324 of the Indian Constitution. And looking at the power and authority, Article 324 vests the power of superintendence, direction and control of elections in the Election Commission of India. Moreover, this includes the authority to oversee elections for Parliament, state legislatures and the offices of President and Vice President of India. Looking at their appointment process, the Chief Election Commissioner and election commissioners are appointed by the President of India. Currently, the appointment process is guided by the Chief Election Commissioner and other election commissioners. And the role of selection and search committees. According to this act, the President appoints the Chief Election Commissioner and election commissioners based on the recommendations of a selection committee, which includes the Prime Minister, who leads the committee, a Union Cabinet Minister, ensuring executive representation, and the leader of the opposition or leader of the largest opposition party in the Lok Sabha, ensuring political balance and fairness. Before the selection committee makes its recommendations, a search committee headed by the Law Minister proposes a panel of names. This ensures a thorough and rigorous selection process, maintaining the credibility and neutrality of the Election Commission. Now looking at its significance and role, in conclusion, the Chief Election Commissioner and the Election Commission of India play a crucial role in upholding democracy by conducting free and fair elections. Though its constitutional authority, transparent appointment process and impartial functioning, the ECA ensures the integrity of the electoral process, thereby strengthening India's democratic framework. Now moving on to the next article. The National Green Tribunal on Wednesday pulled up the Uttar Pradesh Pollution Control Board for not submitting adequate information to the court, including fecal coliform levels in the river water in Prayagraj during Mahakumbh. So, now in this context, we will discuss about the National Green Tribunal and its objectives, constitutional provisions, and its powers. So, now let's get into the topic. The National Green Tribunal is a statutory body established under the National Green Tribunal Act 2010. In essence, it is dedicated to the effective and expeditious disposal of cases concerning about the environmental protection, conservation of forests and other natural resources, and enforcement of legal rights related to the environment. By doing so, it ensures swift environmental justice, reducing the burden on traditional courts. The primary objective of NGT is to provide effective and timely disposal of cases related to environmental protection, ensuring that ecological balance is maintained, and conservation of forests and other natural resources, preserving biodiversity, and finally enforcement of legal rights pertaining to the environment, safeguarding the public's right to healthy environment. From a constitutional perspective, the NGT derives its authority from the right to a healthy environment, which is recognized as an essential aspect of the right to life under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. Therefore, the NGT upholds the constitutional mandate to protect and preserve the environment for present and future generations. Now, looking at the powers of NGT, the powers include adjudication, civil and criminal jurisdiction, penalties for non-compliance, sumoto powers, Review of government decisions. So now under adjudication, the NGT has the authority to hear and decide cases related to environmental protection, and the conservation of forests and natural resources. And the enforcement of any legal right. Relating to its environment, ensuring accountability. And now coming to civil and criminal jurisdiction. Uniquely, the NGT possesses both civil and criminal jurisdiction, enabling it to hear cases related to environmental violation and offences. This includes imposing penalties for non-compliance with environmental laws. And now jurisdiction. The NGT has jurisdiction over all civil cases related to the environmental laws, which are the Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974. The Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974 and the Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Cess Act 1977, and then the Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981. The Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981. And then the Environment and Protection Act 1986. And the Forest Conservation Act 1980. And then the Public Liability Insurance Act 1991. And finally, the Biological Diversity Act 2002. And all these are to regulate the water pollution, air pollution, and conservation of the environment and forest for better environment. And now looking at the penalties for non-compliance. Under the NGT Act, penalties for non-compliance include imprisonment for 3 years, fine up to 10 crore rupees, or both imprisonment and fine in cases of serious environmental harm. Both imprisonment and fines in case of serious environmental harm. Now coming to sumoto powers of NGT. One of the unique features of the NGT is its sumoto power, which allows it to take up the environmental issues nationwide even without filing a formal case. And to address urgent environmental concerns, proactively ensuring prompt action. And finally, review of government decisions. The NGT has the authority to review and challenge decisions, acts or omissions of the government or any public authority that have caused environmental harm, and this includes examining the environmental impact of government projects and policies. Ensuring that government actions comply with environmental laws and regulations. And now coming to principle of natural justice. The NGT is guided by the principles of natural justice, ensuring fairness, transparency, and impartiality in its proceedings, equity and justice for affected parties, including marginalized communities impacted by environmental degradation. In the conclusion, the NGT plays a pivotal role in environmental governance by ensuring the enforcement of environmental laws and upholding constitutional rights, providing a specialized forum for environmental disputes, ensuring speedy and effective justice. acting as a watchdog to hold violators accountable and reviewing governmental decisions impacting the environment. Ultimately, the NGT strengthens India's commitment to environmental sustainability and protects the right to clean and healthy environment. Now coming to the next article, while around 76% of the total approved length for the project have been awarded so far for construction, no fresh projects will now be taken up under the centre's flagship Bharatmala Pariyojana, the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways said in its latest annual report. So now in this context, let's know about the Bharatmala Pariyojana and the phases and key features of the program. Bharatmala Pariyojana is an umbrella program launched by the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways aimed at enhancing road connectivity and logistics efficiency across India. In essence, it is designed to improve freight and passenger movement, thereby boosting economic growth. Now looking at its first phase and implementation, the first phase of Bharatmala Pariyojana was announced in 2017 with a target to be completed by 2022. However, due to slow implementation in financial constraints, the project has faced delays necessitating revised timelines. Looking at its integration with the PM Gati Shakti plan, Bharatmala Pariyojana is integrated with the PM Gati Shakti plan to optimize connectivity and logistics efficiency. In addition, it is combined with other infrastructure products such as Sagarmala and dry land ports. The Bharatmala enhances road connectivity for efficient freight and passengers movement, and Sagarmala, which modernizes ports and promotes coastal shipping, boosting trade and maritime activities. Now looking at the key features of the scheme, the economic corridors and efficiency improvement. One of the primary features of Bharatmala is the development of economic corridors aimed at enhancing the effectiveness of existing infrastructure through multimodal integration and bridging infrastructure gaps. So here, enhancing the effectiveness of existing infrastructure through multimodal integration and bridging infrastructure gaps. And also developing 26,000 kilometers of economic corridors. 26,000 kilometers of economic corridors, including the Golden Quadrilateral, in short the GQ, and north-south and east-west corridors. North-south and east-west corridors to carry the high majority of freight traffic. And coming to interstate corridor and feeder routes, it ensures first mile and last mile connectivity. First mile and last mile connectivity, thereby improving logistics efficiency. And it identifies 8,000 kilometers of interstate corridors and 7,500 kilometers of feeder routes for enhanced connectivity and effectiveness. And then comes border and international connectivity roads, which enhances border and road infrastructure to ensure greater maneuverability and boosts trade with neighboring countries by improving cross-border connectivity. So here it improves the cross-border connectivity, which leads to boosts trade with neighboring countries. And then comes the coastal and port connectivity routes, which promotes port-led economic development by connecting coastal areas. So it promotes the port-led economic development by connecting coastal areas and facilitates tourism and industrial growth through improved coastal connectivity. And then comes Greenfield Expressways, which develops high traffic configuration expressways to ease congestion. And it also improves connectivity and reduces travel time. Thus enhances overall logistic efficiency. Now, coming to the funding mechanism, Bharatmala Pariyojana is funded through multiple channels to ensure sustainable financial backing, including Central Road and Infrastructure Fund which collects revenue from fuel taxes and remittance and additional budgetary support from the Government of India. Monetization of national highways, generating funds through toll revenues and leasing of highway assets. Internal and extra budgetary resources, ensuring liquidity for ongoing projects. Private sector investment, encouraging public-private partnership for infrastructure development. And looking at the significance, in conclusion, the Bharatmala Pariyojana is a transformative initiative that aims to revolutionize India's road infrastructure by enhancing connectivity across the economic corridors, ensuring efficient freight and passenger movement, boosting trade and industrial growth through better port and coastal connectivity, strengthening border infrastructure for national security and international trade, facilitating integrated development with PM Gati Shakti plan, ensuring multimodal logistic efficiency. Ultimately, the Bharatmala Pariyojana lays the foundation for a modern and efficient transportation network, fueling economic growth and improving connectivity across the India. Now moving on to the next article. Amid a focus on increasing the frequency of economic data release, a new survey report on private sector's capex intentions will be released by the government on April 30th this year. Monthly labor force surveys and a new release date for factory output data to reduce the time lag in the release are also in the offing by the Government Statistics Ministry, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation from the upcoming financial year. So now in this context, let's discuss about the capex, which is capital expenditure, and its purpose, and also the key changes and initiatives, and also look into the monthly labor force survey. Coming into the topic, the capital expenditure refers to the funds spent by a business or government on acquiring, maintaining or upgrading long-term assets. These assets include property, infrastructure, equipment and technology. In essence, capex is aimed at expanding the productive capacity, maintaining or upgrading existing assets, and supporting business growth and operational efficiency. Therefore, it plays a vital role in enhancing productivity and competitiveness. Now, the primary purposes of capex include expanding productive capacity, enabling organizations to increase output and revenue, and also maintaining or upgrading existing assets, ensuring continued operational efficiency and reducing maintenance costs, and supporting business growth by investing in technology, infrastructure and new projects, which leads to a long-term sustainability and profitability. Now let's look at the key changes and initiatives. New private capex survey. A significant initiative is a new private capex survey which aims to assess capital investment innovations of the private corporate sector, including both non-financial and financial corporations. And the launch date of the survey, which is April 30th of 2025, and the objective of the survey is to gather detailed data on capex expenditure, providing insights into investment trends and industry preferences. Now, let's look at the scope of the survey, which includes collects data on capex expenditure for the last 3 years and projections for the next 2 years, which provides a breakdown on capex by type of assets and industries, enabling sector-wise analysis, and assesses expected investments for 2024 to 2025 and 2025 to 2026, offering forward-looking insights, and identifies preferred industries, sectors for major investments, helping stakeholders understand emerging trends. And now looking at the monthly labor force survey. In addition to the capex survey, the monthly labor force survey is being introduced to provide more frequent and timely data on the labor market. And the launch date of the survey is May 2025. And the objective is to track the labor market trends in both rural and urban areas, ensuring data accuracy and relevance. And frequency of the reports. Monthly reports are released on 15th of every month for the previous month, ensuring up-to-date information. Quarterly reports are also released 1 month after the end of the quarter, providing comprehensive analysis. And the back series release is introduced to adjust for the higher standard error of new monthly series, making data comparable with at least 12 months back series likely to be released. Now, let's know about the significance of monthly labor force survey. Addresses the growing demand for frequent labor data, ensuring better policy making and economic planning, and also enhances the assessment of labor force partition rate, worker population ratio, and unemployment rate, enabling a clear understanding of employment trends. Supplements data from other sources such as CMIE, which releases weekly and monthly employment surveys, ensuring comprehensive coverage of labor market dynamics. And let's know about the revised release date for factory output data. IIP. Another key change is the revised release date for factory output data, also known as the Index of Industrial Production. And the new release date include 28th of every month starting from April 2025 instead of 12th date currently. And the objective is to reduce the time lag in the release of IIP data, ensuring that it reflects the latest month. Now, let's look at the significance of Index of Industrial Production. Measures short-term changes in the volume of production of a basket of industrial products, indicating industrial growth and economic health. Crucial indicator of the general level of industrial activity used in calculating gross value added in manufacturing sector of the gross domestic product. Now, let's look at the significance and role. In conclusion, the capital expenditure and the associated service and the data initiatives plays a critical role in economic growth and planning. By providing detailed and timely data, they enhance decision making for business and policymakers, leading to better resource allocation and investment strategies. Improve understanding of labor market trends, ensuring effective employment policies, and also facilitate accurate measurement of industrial output, supporting GDP calculations. And it also promotes transparency and accountability, boosting investors' confidence and economic stability. Ultimately, these initiatives strengthen India's economic infrastructure, drive productivity, and support sustainable growth. So, by this article, we will conclude our daily current affairs video. And today we have discussed 8 articles in total, and we will be back with another video tomorrow. Thank you.